It's wonderful to see you all again. I've got an extraordinary tale to tell you today.
Rose's pill organizer was empty, not partially filled, not rearranged. Empty. I found it on the kitchen counter at 10:14 in the morning on a Thursday in October. The same counter where Rose had laid out her medication every Sunday night for 3 years. 7 compartments labeled Monday through Sunday, each one holding the exact combination of Donepezil and Memantine that kept the fog in her brain from swallowing her whole. The organizer was a blue plastic case I bought at Walgreens for $7.49. Rose had put a strip of masking tape on the lid and written Rose's vitamins in purple marker, because she did not like the word medication. The tape was still there. The compartments were not. I picked it up. My hands were shaking, not from the pain in my right knee, the knee they had replaced 8 weeks earlier at the VA hospital in Jackson, 200 miles south of Memphis. I turned the case over. No pills rattling, no residue, nothing. And my son and his wife, who had been living in our house for 8 weeks while I recovered from surgery, had told me on the phone just 2 days ago, "She's fine, Dad, taking her meds, eating good, don't worry." But the pill case was empty, and the curtains were closed. And my wife was sitting in the dark living room in a nightgown at 10 o'clock in the morning, humming, "His eye is on the sparrow" to herself and looking at me as if she was not entirely sure who I was. "Who is that?" 3 words that broke me in half. "It's Stuart, baby, your husband." She stared for 4 seconds, then her face softened. "Stuart, Stu, you were gone. I'm here now, I'm not leaving again." She reached for my hand. Her grip was weak. Her fingernails were too long. Nobody had trimmed them. Nobody had washed her hair. Nobody had dressed her. Before I go on, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story hits close to home. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I would love to know where you are listening from. Because what happened in this house, my house, the house Rose and I bought in 1986 for $62,000 and never missed a payment, would make me question whether the son I raised was ever the man I thought he was. But I'll get to that. First, let me tell you about why I was 200 miles away when my wife needed me most. August 5th, 2024, a Monday morning. I was 68 years old, retired 2 years from Covenant Transport, and my right knee had finally given up. 41 years of climbing in and out of truck cabs, 2.3 million miles. The knee doctor at the VA, Dr. Anand, said it like he was reading a verdict. "Mr. Bishop, you've got bone-on-bone contact. We need a total replacement. Surgery at the Jackson VA, 8 weeks minimum recovery. No weight bearing. No driving." No driving. For a man who drove for a living since he was 17, that was the hardest sentence. But the real problem was Rose Marie Bishop, my wife, 66 years old. We married at Greater Mount Moriah Baptist Church on June 12, 1982. I promised her father, a man named Junior Lee Hawkins who worked the line at the International Harvester plant until it closed, that I would take care of his daughter until the day I died. Rose was diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's 3 years ago. It had been progressing slowly. She forgot appointments. She lost track of days. She called our older son Derek by his father's name sometimes, which made us both laugh. But she still knew me. She still hummed hymns while she folded the laundry. She still put on lipstick before church because she said the Lord deserved her best face. I was her routine. I was her clock. I laid out her medication every Sunday night. I drove her to Dr. Kim's office every month. I sat with her on the porch every evening while the neighborhood kids rode bikes on Shelby Drive. She waved at each one because she remembered being the cafeteria lady who gave every child at Whitehaven Elementary an extra cookie on Fridays. "That's Marcus Jr.," she would say, pointing at a boy she had never met. "He likes chocolate." That was Rose. Even as the disease took her memory, it could not touch her kindness. 8 weeks away from her felt like cutting my own arm off. Marcus called the night before my surgery. "Dad, me and Vanessa will stay at the house with Mom. Don't even think about it." Marcus, my younger son, 37, worked at a Toyota dealership on Covington Pike, finance department. The kind of job where you convince people they can afford things they cannot afford. He was good at it. Too good. Vanessa was a licensed practical nurse. She worked at a nursing home in Bartlett but had been on administrative leave since March, something about patient boundaries. Marcus said it was politics. I did not ask more questions. I should have. Are you sure? I asked. What about your jobs? I'll work remote. Vanessa's between assignments anyway. It's perfect, Dad. Perfect. I, like an idiot, believed him. The surgery was on August 8th. Total knee replacement, 2 hours and 40 minutes. I woke up in a VA recovery room in Jackson, Mississippi, with my leg immobilized and a morphine drip making the ceiling tiles dance. The first 2 weeks, Marcus called every day. Mom's great, Dad. She ate the whole plate. Vanessa made catfish. Put her on the phone, Marcus. She's in the bath right now. I'll have her call you back. She never called back. Week 3, I called the house phone directly. Rose answered. Her voice was thin, confused. Hello, baby, it's Stuart. A pause, long enough to hear my own heartbeat. Stuart, when are you coming home? 5 more weeks, sweetheart. Are you taking your pills? What pills? Your medication, Rose, the ones in the blue case. I don't know about any blue case. Is someone coming? The house is very quiet. The phone was taken from her, Marcus's voice. Hey, Dad, she's just a little confused today. You know how it is. She took her meds this morning. I watched her. Let me talk to her again. She went back to the living room. I'll tell her you called. That was the first test. The first time I felt something wrong in my chest, not the heart, not the knee, the chest. The place where worry lives. I told myself to calm down. Maybe he was telling the truth. Week 4, I called again. Marcus, can I talk to Mom? She's napping, Dad. She's always napping when I call. That's the Alzheimer's, Dad. The doctor said increased sleep is normal. Which doctor? Dr. Miller. Vanessa found someone closer to the house. Mom's doctor is Dr. Kim at Park Nicollet. She's had Dr. Kim for 8 years. Dr. Miller is better, Dad. Vanessa knows the medical side. I let it go. That was the second test. Week 5. I asked Marcus to take Rose to church on Sunday. She had attended Greater Mount Moriah every Sunday since 1982, 42 years. Dad, she gets confused around crowds now. It's better if she stays home. She's been going to that church longer than you've been alive, Marcus. Things change, Dad. You'll see when you get home. I did not argue. That was the third test. Week 6, I called Loretta Simmons. Loretta, have you seen Rose? Silence. Loretta. Stuart, I've been trying to figure out how to tell you this. Tell me what? I haven't seen Rose in 4 weeks. I went over twice. The first time Vanessa told me Rose was resting. The second time she told me Rose wasn't up for visitors and asked me to stop coming by. Stop coming by? She said it would confuse Rose to have too many people around. But Stuart, the curtains are always closed, all day, every day. Rose never closes those curtains. I knew. Rose said closed curtains made a house look like it was holding its breath. Loretta, can you put a camera on your porch? Something that sees our front door. Already done. I put up a Ring doorbell camera last week. Something didn't feel right. Loretta Simmons. 31 years of delivering mail through Memphis heat, Memphis ice, Memphis everything. She knew what a house looked like when something was wrong inside. The same way a truck driver knows what an engine sounds like before it throws a rod. You just know. Keep it running, I said. Wasn't planning to turn it off. Week 7. I called Marcus one more time. This time I was direct. Marcus, I want to talk to your mother right now, not in 5 minutes, not after her nap, right now. Dad, you're overreacting. Put her on the phone. She's in the yard with Vanessa. Then bring the phone to the yard. Silence, then rustling, then Rose's voice distant like she was standing far from the phone. Hello, who is this? Baby, it's Stuart. How are you feeling? I'm tired. I want to go inside, but the girl says I need sun. What girl? The girl in the scrubs. She's nice sometimes, but she took my picture box, Stuart. My pictures are gone. What pictures? Marcus took the phone back. Dad, she's confused. There's no picture box. Listen, I gotta go. Vanessa needs help with dinner. He hung up. My picture box. Rose's picture box. A wooden box with a hinged lid that she had kept on her nightstand since 1998, filled with photographs she looked at every night before sleep. Our wedding picture. Derek's first birthday. Marcus at 5 years old sitting on my shoulders at the Liberty Bowl parade, both of us waving at the camera. She called it her memory drawer. She said the pictures helped her remember when the words wouldn't come. I sat in the VA hospital bed that night, and I did something I had not done since Catherine Stewart Bishop, my mother, died in 2003. I cried. Not quiet tears. The kind that come from somewhere behind your ribs and shake your whole body. The kind a 68-year-old man only allows himself when there is nobody else in the room, and the lights are off and the TV is muted. Because I was 200 miles away, and I could hear in my wife's voice that she was drowning. And the people I trusted to keep her head above water were the ones holding her under. But what I didn't know yet, what Loretta's doorbell camera was recording while I lay in that hospital bed, was that the drowning was only part of it. They were also taking everything she had. October 3rd, 2024. A Thursday. I was released from the VA rehab 5 days early because my recovery was faster than expected. The physical therapist, Sergeant Williams, said I was the most stubborn patient she ever had. I took that as a compliment. Derek drove me to Memphis. We pulled into the driveway on Shelby Drive at 9:45 in the morning. Marcus's car was not there. Vanessa's Lexus was. The curtains were closed. "Dad, why are all the curtains shut?" "Mom hates that." "I know." I got out of the truck slowly. My knee was stiff but functional. I used the cane Dr. Anand had given me. I knocked on my own door, had to knock on my own door because the locks had been changed. The deadbolt I installed in 2004 was gone. A new brushed nickel set had replaced it. Nobody changed the locks on a house without telling the owner. Unless they did not want the owner coming in. Vanessa opened the door. She was in scrubs and bare feet, holding a coffee mug I did not recognize. "Oh, Stuart, we weren't expecting you until Saturday. I'm home early. Let me just tidy up real quick. I'm coming in now, Vanessa." She stepped back. The smell hit me first. Stale air, air freshener, and underneath it something sour and wrong, not the smell of a house where someone was being cared for. The smell of a house where care had been abandoned and covered up with Glade plugins. Rose was in the living room, in the recliner, in a nightgown at 10 in the morning. Rose Marie Bishop, the woman who ironed her church dress every Saturday night and had her hair set at Diane's beauty shop on Elvis Presley Boulevard every other Friday, was sitting in a stained nightgown she had been wearing for what looked like days. Her hair was uncombed. Her feet were swollen. The skin on her hands looked papery, dehydrated. And that is where I was when this story started. Standing in my kitchen, finding the empty pill case, looking at my wife in the dark. But let me tell you what else I found that morning, because the pills were not the worst of it. I sent Derek to sit with Rose while I searched the house. The kitchen drawers first. Rose's financial folder, the manila one she kept in the drawer next to the stove, was gone. Social security statements, Shelby County pension paperwork, the deed to the house, the life insurance policy I took out in 1989 for $50,000. All gone. The second bedroom, Derek's old room, was now Marcus and Vanessa's. Their clothes in the closet. Vanessa's makeup covered the dresser. Shopping bags from Nordstrom and Anthropologie stacked in the corner. Nordstrom, on a nurse's salary that was currently suspended. I opened the nightstand drawer. A Wells Fargo bank statement with Marcus's name on it. Balance, $14,200. Deposits from what I recognized as Rose's pension amounts. 2 deposits of $1,680 each. I photographed it with my phone. Under the bed, a folder. Inside, a home equity line of credit application. Already approved. $95,000 against the house at 2847 Shelby Drive. Borrower, Rose Marie Bishop. Co-borrower, Marcus Dwayne Bishop. My house. The house I bought in 1986. The house I paid off in 2008 after 22 years of monthly checks. $438 a month, never late, not once, not even the February I drove through an ice storm in Nebraska and still mailed the payment from a truck stop in Omaha. They had borrowed $95,000 against it. Rose's signature on the application was shaky, wrong, the letters tilting in directions her handwriting never went. Then I picked up Vanessa's phone from the nightstand. It was unlocked. Instagram was open. Her last post was from 3 days ago. A photograph of Rose's kitchen, the kitchen where I cooked 10,000 meals with a new Nespresso machine on the counter and fairy lights strung above the window. The caption, "Caregiver Life." Grateful for this journey, heart emoji, praying hands emoji. 237 likes, 42 comments. You're an angel, Vanessa. Bless your heart taking care of family. Not everyone would do what you do. I scrolled back, August 28th. Vanessa in Rose's garden posing with a watering can she had never used in her life. Sunday mornings with Grandma, she taught me how to garden. Rose did not garden, I gardened. Rose watched from the porch. September 12th. A selfie in what I recognized as Rose's bedroom, wearing Rose's reading glasses as a headband. The background showed Rose's nightstand. The picture box was gone. September 25th. A boomerang video of Marcus popping champagne in the kitchen. My kitchen, my counter. My wife somewhere in that house alone while they celebrated. I put the phone down. I sat at the kitchen table and opened the Dollar General notebook. Entry 1. October 3, 2024. 10:14 in the morning. Rose's medication organizer empty. Rose in soiled nightgown, dehydrated. Does not recognize me at first. Kitchen financial folder missing. Wells Fargo statement showing pension deposits to Marcus's account. 2 months confirmed. Home equity line of credit for $95,000 against house with suspicious signature. Locks changed on front door. Curtains closed. Nordstrom bags in guest room. Instagram posts showing Vanessa using Rose's home as content. Picture box missing from Rose's nightstand. I wrote it in block letters. My handwriting is not pretty. 41 years of truck driving did not make my penmanship any better, but it was clear. And it was dated, and it was true. Derek came into the kitchen. "Dad, Mom keeps asking where the nice lady is." "What nice lady?" "She says a nice lady used to come in the mornings and help her. She says the nice lady stopped coming." I found out later that Vanessa had hired a home health aide named Charlene for the first 2 weeks. Paid with Rose's money. $18 an hour, 4 hours a day. Then she fired Charlene and kept the money. When I tracked Charlene down, she told me what she saw. "Mr. Bishop, I liked Miss Rose. She was sweet. But that woman Vanessa, she told me to stop coming. She said they didn't need me anymore." "Did Rose seem okay when you left?" "No, sir. She was asking for you every day, every single day. 'Where's Stuart? When is Stuart coming?' And nobody answered her." I wrote Charlene's words in the notebook. Rose remembered Charlene. She could not remember her own husband's face, but she remembered the nice lady who helped her to the bathroom. Alzheimer's is not a disease that takes everything at once. It takes things in the cruelest possible order. It is an eraser that starts with the newest pages and works backward, saving the oldest memories for last. The psychologists call it retrograde progression. I call it the cruelest trick God ever played on a good woman. I looked at Derek. "Call Deacon Beaumont." Curtis Beaumont, 74 years old. Head deacon at Greater Mount Moriah Baptist Church. Former Shelby County Assistant District Attorney, 29 years in the DA's office before he retired and gave the rest of his life to God and chess. We had played chess every Saturday for 9 years on his porch on Castalia Street. He always beat me. "Honest men make predictable moves, Stuart." I showed up at his house at 6:30 that same evening with the notebook, the phone photographs, and a sickness in my chest. Curtis listened to everything. He did not interrupt. He did not touch the photographs until I was finished speaking. Then he picked up the home equity application. He held it close to his face, turned it sideways, examined the signature. "Rose did not sign this." "How do you know?" "Because I've watched Rose sign the church attendance book every Sunday for 12 years. Her R loops to the left. This R loops right. And she hasn't been able to write below a straight line for at least a year." He set the paper down. "Stuart, how long have they been in the house?" 8 weeks. "How much have they taken?" "I don't know yet, at least the home equity line, at least her pension for 2 months, maybe more." "Who changed the locks?" "I don't know, they didn't tell me." Curtis folded his hands. The way he did before he made a chess move he knew you could not beat. "Here is what we do. Tomorrow morning, you call Dr. Kim's office and get Rose's medical records. If Vanessa stopped her medication, there will be a gap in the pharmacy refill records. That is negligence. And the money? I'll call Patricia Ockhafer. She handles elder abuse cases at the Legal Aid Society. She's young, she's sharp, and she does not suffer fools. And Marcus, Curtis looked at me. His eyes were the color of old brass. Stuart, I spent 29 years putting men like your son in prison. If what you're showing me is what I think it is, Marcus is looking at elder abuse, financial exploitation, and forgery. Vanessa too, and she should know better because she has a medical license. Her license is under review. Curtis exhaled through his nose. That makes it worse. She knew exactly what medication Rose needed. She let it lapse on purpose. That's not negligence, Stuart. That's neglect with knowledge. I felt something crack inside my chest. Not a break. More like a door that had been sealed shut with old paint and was finally being forced open. I had spent 41 years solving problems on the road. Flat tires in Arizona. Black ice in Montana. Broken ratchet straps at 2 in the morning on I-40 with the wind trying to blow the trailer off the mountain. But this was my son, and the road home from your own child's betrayal does not have guardrails. October through December 2024. 3 months of building the case. I did not confront Marcus. Curtis told me not to. If he knows you're building a case, he'll destroy evidence or run. Instead, I went back to driving. Not trucks. Routes. The daily routes of a man collecting proof against his own blood. Pharmacy first. Dr. Kim's office confirmed that Rose's prescriptions had not been refilled since September 1st. 8 weeks without Dompesil. 8 weeks without Memantine. The pharmacist at Walgreens on Shelby Drive confirmed no one had picked up the prescriptions. They had called the house phone 3 times. Each time, Vanessa answered and said she would take care of it. She never picked up the pills. Rose's neurologist, Dr. Pham at University of Tennessee Medical Center, did not mince words. Mr. Bishop, how long was she without the medication? 8 weeks, maybe longer. 8 weeks without Dompesil and Memantine. He paused. Mr. Bishop, I need you to understand what that means. Those medications slow the progression. They don't cure it, but they hold the line. When you remove them for 8 weeks, the disease does not pause, it accelerates. Can we get her back to where she was? We can restart the medication, but the ground she lost in those 8 weeks, the cognitive decline that occurred without the drugs, that is likely permanent. Permanent. I'm sorry, yes. I sat in the parking lot of the medical center for 20 minutes after that appointment. My hands were on the steering wheel. I was not driving. I was just holding on. My wife lost time she will never get back, because my daughter-in-law could not be bothered to drive to a Walgreens 4 minutes from the house. I sat in Loretta's living room for 2 hours watching the playback on her laptop. This one, Loretta said, pointing at the screen. September 14th. Watch. September 14th, 3:22 in the afternoon. Marcus and Vanessa leaving the house with shopping bags, Rose visible through the screen door, standing alone in the hallway, barefoot. She was alone, Stuart, barefoot on the tile in September. Keep going. September 19th, 11:45 in the morning. A man in a suit with a briefcase. He stayed 40 minutes. Who is that? I asked. I wrote down his license plate, Loretta said. I'm a retired mail carrier, Stuart. I notice everything. I later identified him as Ronald Kemp, a notary public from Germantown, the man who notarized the home equity line signature. This next one is the one that made me sick, Loretta said. September 28th, 6:10 in the evening. Vanessa carrying a box of roses belongings to the Lexus, a silver picture frame, a wooden jewelry box, and something wrapped in cloth that I recognized immediately, Rose's quilt. The one Granny B made in 1971 from scraps of the family's church clothes. Every patch was a Sunday, every stitch was a prayer, being loaded into a Lexus like yard sale inventory. Stuart, is that what I think it is? That's Granny B's quilt. Loretta put her hand on my arm. I should have called you sooner. I should have called the police. You called me when it mattered, Loretta, and you kept the camera running. October 1st, 8:30 at night. Marcus arriving home visibly intoxicated. He stumbled on the porch steps. The front door was unlocked. Rose was somewhere inside. Alone. I wrote everything in the notebook. Entry after entry. Curtis brought in Patricia Acaffer from Legal Aid. She was 32 years old, Shelby County born, Howard University Law School, the kind of lawyer who wore sensible shoes because she spent more time in court than in an office. She reviewed the evidence in Curtis's dining room on a Saturday afternoon. The notebook, the photographs, the doorbell camera footage, the pharmacy records. "Mr. Bishop, let me be direct with you. You have enough here for criminal charges and a civil case." Both, and I recommend pursuing both." Curtis leaned forward. "Patricia, in your professional opinion, will the district attorney take this? With these records, with the forged signature, with a licensed nurse who let medication lapse. With doorbell camera footage." She held up her fingers, counting. "Deacon Beaumont, any DA in this county would take this case. This is textbook elder exploitation." "How long could they get?" I asked. Patricia set down the home equity application. "Elder abuse with a vulnerable adult. Financial exploitation over $10,000. Forgery. If the district attorney takes this, and with Deacon Beaumont's connections I believe they will, you're looking at 5 to 10 years for Marcus." Vanessa could get more because of her medical background. "How much did they take total?" Patricia pulled out a spreadsheet she had built from my notebook entries and the bank records I obtained. Rose's pension, $1,680 a month, redirected for 2 months, $3,360. Rose's Social Security, $1,520 a month, redirected for 2 months, $3,040. Home equity line, $95,000. Home health aid budget pocketed by Vanessa, approximately $2,880. Total confirmed, $104,280. $104,280. Stolen from a woman who spent 28 years feeding other people's children. I added it to the notebook. Now I need to pause here for a second. If you have ever given everything to protect someone and then discovered that the danger was inside your own house, comment, "Still here," below. If you have ever trusted your own blood and had that trust used as a weapon, you know what this feels like. And if you think what comes next is going to be the hardest thing I ever did, you are right. Because what happened in that courtroom was the day I had to choose between being a father and being a husband. And I chose my wife. January 8th, 2025. A Wednesday. Shelby County Sheriff's deputies arrived at 2847 Shelby Drive at 7:15 in the morning. Marcus opened the door in his underwear. "What the hell is this?" "Marcus Dwayne Bishop, you are under arrest for financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, forgery, and criminal neglect." Vanessa appeared behind him in a bathrobe. "You have the wrong house. We're his caregivers." "Ma'am, there's a warrant for you as well." Vanessa Renee Bishop, financial exploitation, criminal neglect, and abuse of a vulnerable adult. They were separated, handcuffed, led to 2 different squad cars. Marcus saw me standing on the sidewalk. He stopped walking. Dad, what did you do?" "What you made me do, Marcus." His face changed. Not guilt, not yet. The face of a man who had been caught and was already calculating his next lie. "This is a misunderstanding. We were taking care of Mom." Everything we did was for her. Then why was her pill case empty for 8 weeks? Vanessa was handling the medication. And the $95,000 home equity line? That was to pay for her care. Home nurses are expensive, Dad. You fired the home nurse after 2 weeks and pocketed the money. Silence. Marcus looked at the ground, then at the squad car, then at me. "You don't understand, Dad." His voice cracked. "You don't know what it's like." "I don't know what's like." Being broke. Being 37 years old and owing $68,000 in credit card debt. He was shaking. "The dealership cut my commissions. Vanessa's license got suspended. The Lexus payment is $740 a month. The apartment we wanted needs first and last." He looked at the ground. "I can't keep up, Dad. I can't." His voice broke, not an act. I could tell because I had watched my son lie for 37 years, and I knew the difference between his selling voice and his real voice. This was his real voice, and it was the voice of a man drowning in debt who looked at his own mother and saw a life raft instead of a person. Deputy Rowlands guided him into the squad car. Vanessa did not look at me. She looked at the ground the entire walk. Her French-tipped nails were chipped. Derek stood beside me on the sidewalk. He had driven up from Meridian at midnight. "You okay, Dad?" I was not okay. A man is not okay when he watches his son put in the back of a police car in the driveway of the house where that son learned to ride a bicycle. But I was standing. And Rose was safe inside with Loretta and a home health aide named Tanya I had hired the week after I got home. Standing and keeping Rose safe. That had to be enough. June 2025. Shelby County Criminal Court. Judge Alvin Patterson presiding. Prosecution led by Assistant DA Monica Crawford. Marcus's defense attorney, Stephen Pratt, tried 5 strategies. I counted them the way I count miles, by habit. Round 1, denial. My client genuinely believed he was helping his parents manage their finances during a medical emergency. Crawford played Loretta's doorbell camera footage from September 19th, the notary arriving with a briefcase. If your client was managing finances, why did he need a notary to visit the house while his father was 200 miles away in a VA hospital? No answer. Round 2. Legal bluff. Pratt pivoted. The home equity line was taken out to cover Rose's medical expenses. My client had every intention of repaying the funds. Crawford produced Marcus's bank statements. The $95,000 had been spent. $28,000 on credit card payments, all Marcus and Vanessa's personal debt. $14,000 on a down payment for a Lexus NX leased in Vanessa's name. $9,800 on furniture from Restoration Hardware delivered to an apartment in Cordova, Tennessee. An apartment Marcus had signed a lease on in October, while his mother sat in a stained nightgown in the dark. Does Restoration Hardware sell medical equipment, Mr. Pratt? The courtroom was quiet. Round 3. Blame shift. Mr. Bishop left his wife undersupervised when he went to Jackson for surgery. He shares responsibility for inadequate care arrangements. I testified from the witness chair. I asked my son to take care of his mother. He volunteered. He told me every week on the phone that she was fine. He lied to me for 8 weeks while he drained her accounts and let her medication lapse. I held up the notebook. This notebook has 67 entries. Every dollar they took. Every day my wife went without medication. Every time my neighbor reported the curtains were closed. Every lie my son told me on the phone. I paused. I thought about Marcus at 5 years old, sitting on my shoulders at the Liberty Bowl parade, waving a tiny American flag. I thought about the way his hand felt on my forehead, so small and warm. Then I continued. I didn't need to be a lawyer or an accountant to know what happened in my house. I just needed to pay attention. That's what 41 years of driving trucks teaches you. Pay attention to the road, because the moment you stop looking is the moment everything goes wrong. Round 4. Vanessa turned. It happened during Vanessa's own testimony. Pratt was not Vanessa's lawyer. She had a public defender named Maria Santos. Santos asked Vanessa about the medication gap. Miss Bishop, why were Rose's prescriptions not refilled? Marcus told me not to bother. He said the medication wasn't working anyway and it cost too much. Marcus stood up. That's a lie. I never said that. Vanessa, what are you doing? Judge Patterson gavelled him down. She was supposed to handle it, Marcus said to Pratt, his voice cracking. We agreed. She would handle Mom, I would handle the money. That was the deal. The deal. He called it a deal. Like my wife was a transaction. Round 5. Self-incrimination. Crawford asked Marcus one final question on cross-examination. Mr. Bishop, did you ever consider asking your father for permission to take out a home equity line on his house? Marcus looked at me. For the first time in the trial, he looked directly at me. He would have said no. Why? Because he doesn't understand. That house is just sitting there, Dad. $300,000 in equity just sitting there. You and Mom aren't using it, you're not, and I just needed. He stopped. The courtroom was silent. He had just admitted, on the stand under oath, that he took from his mother because he felt entitled to what was hers. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty. Both of them. All counts. If you are still with me, hit subscribe now because this last part is why I needed to tell you this story. August 2025. Same courtroom. I submitted a victim impact statement. 3 pages typed because my handwriting is not reliable for documents the court will preserve. It ended with this. My son did not steal just money. He stole the time my wife had left. He stole 8 weeks of medication that might have kept her mind clear a little longer. He stole her pictures. He stole her quilt. He stole the Sunday mornings she should have spent in church singing hymns she still remembers even when she cannot remember my face. I do not want revenge. I want accountability. There is a difference, and my son should have been old enough to know it. Marcus, 8 years at the Northwest Correctional Complex in Tiptonville, Tennessee. Vanessa, 10 years at the Tennessee Prison for Women in Nashville. The judge noted her medical training as an aggravating factor. Miss Bishop, you were trained to care for patients with cognitive decline. You understood their vulnerability. You used that understanding to exploit, not protect. This court will not show leniency where training was weaponized. Vanessa's nursing license was permanently revoked by the Tennessee Board of Nursing. The home equity line was voided after the forgery conviction. The house is in my name again. Rose's Social Security and pension were restored. A civil judgment was entered for $104,280 plus $75,000 in damages. Liens placed on Marcus and Vanessa's future wages and assets. They will never be able to pay it, but the judgment will follow them for the rest of their lives. The quilt came back. The police recovered it from a consignment store in Germantown where Vanessa had sold it for $40. $40. Granny B's quilt. 53 years of Sunday church scraps stitched together by hands that are gone now. $40. I washed it by hand in the bathtub because Rose's grandmother would have wanted it washed gentle. I dried it on the clothesline in the backyard, the same line Rose used to hang sheets on when the boys were small. It lives on our bed now, where it belongs. November 2025. 13 months after I came home, Rose lives with me, where she always should have been. Derek transferred to Memphis Naval Support Activity, 20 minutes from the house. He comes for dinner every Wednesday. He brings his girlfriend, Angela, a nurse at St. Jude's who knows how to talk to Rose without making her feel small. Last Wednesday, Angela brought Rose a new picture box, cedar wood, handmade. She had asked me for copies of the old photographs and printed them herself. Rose opened it at the kitchen table. She touched each photograph with one finger, the way you touch something you are afraid might disappear. "This is my wedding," she said, holding up the picture of us at Greater Mount Moriah. "Yes, it is, baby. This man is handsome. That's me, Rose." She looked at the photograph, then at me, then at the photograph again. "He has your eyes," she said. Angela and Derek looked at each other. Derek's eyes were wet. He excused himself to the porch. Loretta comes over every afternoon at 3. She and Rose sit on the porch and watch the neighborhood. Loretta tells Rose the same stories about their mail route days, and Rose laughs at the same parts every time. Tanya, the home health aide, comes every morning at 8. She calls Rose Miss Rose because respect is not optional in her vocabulary. I have opened every curtain in the house, every single one. The morning light comes through the living room windows at 7:15 and falls across the carpet and the recliner and the end table where Rose's pill organizer sits. All 7 compartments filled every Sunday night. By me, the way it should be. Marcus has written me 2 letters from Tiptonville. They sit in the drawer of my nightstand, unopened. I do not hate my son. Hate is a luxury I cannot afford. I spend my energy on Rose, on making sure she eats, on driving her to Dr. Kim's office on the first Monday of every month, on sitting with her on the porch in the evening while the sun goes down over Shelby Drive and she hums hymns she has known for 60 years. But I am not ready to read those letters. Maybe I will be, someday. Maybe not. Forgiveness is not something you mail from prison on lined notebook paper. It is something you earn with years of different choices. And Marcus has not started earning yet. People ask me if I regret it, if sending my own son to prison was worth it. If I could have handled it differently, kept it in the family, found some quiet way to fix it. Here is what I tell them. My son stole $104,280 from his own mother. His wife let Rose's medication lapse for 8 weeks, knowing what that would do to her brain. They closed the curtains in every room and left her in the dark. They changed the locks on a house that was never theirs. They posted Instagram selfies from her kitchen while she sat alone in a stained nightgown. There was nothing to handle quietly. There was only the truth, and the truth required someone to say it out loud. Last Sunday, Rose and I went to church. Greater Mount Moriah Baptist. The same church where we got married 43 years ago. The same pew we have sat in since 1982. Third row, left side, near the window. Curtis was at the pulpit. He preached about stewardship, about the sacred duty of protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Rose held my hand through the whole sermon. When the choir sang, "His eye is on the sparrow," Rose sang every word. Clear as a bell, no hesitation. I looked at her face. Her eyes were closed. Her lipstick was on, the shade she calls Sunday Rose. She was smiling. For 4 minutes and 22 seconds, the Alzheimer's was not there. For 4 minutes, my wife was entirely, completely, beautifully herself. The song ended. Rose opened her eyes. "Stuart!" "Yes, baby. These curtains are open." She pointed at the church windows. Sunlight pouring through the stained glass, throwing colors across the pews and the hymnals and her hands. "Yes, they are," I said. "Good, I like them open." My house, my wife, my open curtains. 41 years on the road taught me one thing. The longest haul is the one where you cannot see the end. But you keep driving because the load has to get there. Rose is my load. She has always been my load. And I will keep driving until the road runs out. Justice is not about revenge. It is about saying some things out loud so they cannot be whispered away. It is about standing in a courtroom with a $4 notebook and telling 12 strangers the truth about your own son because your wife cannot tell it herself. Rose's Granny B used to say, "The Lord sees what happens behind closed curtains." She was right. But sometimes the Lord sends a truck driver with a bad knee and a stubborn heart to open them. And that is enough. That is more than enough.
I hope you enjoyed this tale. Please subscribe to support the channel. Goodbye for now.